Ben, how you doing, buddy?
Good, good. How are you, Dave?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Cool. Thanks for joining us, man. Obviously, Creation Undone just came out this week. Fantastic album, man. Very cool.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yesterday.
yeah,
Yeah. It's pretty exciting getting a lot of really good feedback.
yeah, good to hear, man. Um, I read you had a different writing technique for this album. Like you guys got in a room and sort of did a song at a time, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. We've always kind of written as a band,
Mm,
anyways. But what this time happened is it is kind of it was like a freak accident. Scott had come to rehearsal on a day we didn't have rehearsal, and they're like, "Hey, can you come over?" I was like, "No, I got some family stuff going on." And him and Eric started writing what was to become Painful Conflict, and and I just kind of noticed like it seemed like there was just this energy there and just this freshness and organic just feel about it. So we were like, let's just keep doing this. And we would just start a song and we would just keep going until it was finished. And then it was when it was finished, we'd put it aside and then we'd start on the next song. And we just kind of kept going and going. And I think what that did was, like I said, we weren't exhausted. Normally what we would do is we'd come to practice. Okay, let's say we got 3 songs written. Well, we'd go through those songs and then start writing another song. And I think sometimes at that point, you're kind of, you're expending your energy. So you already played through 3 songs. You might be a little tired, whatever. And then it just kind of takes the freshness away. So I really think by us doing it this way, starting on a song, sticking with it till it's done, and then moving on to the next song, I just think it added that organic, more organic feel to it.
yeah, cool. It's funny you brought up Painful Conflict. I was going to ask, there's some really cool syncopated parts in that, like where the drums lock in and in Oblivion as well. So that's cool to hear that the drumming is part of the writing thing. Yeah, like
Oh yeah, Eric really takes a lot of pride in his parts and what he comes up with, and just an amazing drummer to play with. Some of the stuff, it's funny because I think some of the stuff he played on this record was really not like traditional of like what a death metal drummer might do.
hmm.
So some of it I think was a little bit outside of the box, and it just really seemed to enhance the songs. So I mean, kudos to him for coming up with those parts.
Yeah, that's cool. The recording and mixing, like it's real clear and big, but it also has that kind of cool old school death metal guitar sound. What sort of interaction is there between you and Dave Otero during the mastering process? Like, are you saying I'm kind of going for this? Like, what's the?
We never do that. We never
Okay.
say. I shouldn't say we never. Let me take that back. I shouldn't say
Sure.
never
No worries. Yeah.
because I know on Suffer for Nothing when we were mastering, we at the time Deicide's record was just fresh out. The last one before this, I can't remember the name of it, and we were like, wow, I really like the way like the crispness of their guitars were. So yeah, so we were like, hey, can we kind of edge the crispness a little bit on the production? But this time, no, we didn't do anything like that. We just went in, we we basically used our own equipment. I think Chris had a cabinet that because we used a bunch of different cabinets, they didn't sound good, and then we found the one cabinet that just really worked with our tones. But as far as Dave, no, Dave, we just told him, hey, we have confidence in what you do. You're a professional. Do what you got to do. Send it back to us. And I think he sent us like maybe one, maybe 2 test masterings. It wasn't very much, and we were just like, we love it. Like he just nailed it. Like he's just such a professional with what he does, and I don't know what he does, how he does it, but I just know we were trying to get him for the last record. We were
Right.
trying to get him for the last record, but then the timing didn't work up, and he had a project, and it just didn't work. So this time, I had contacted him months and months, and like, hey, this is when we're doing the record. This is when we're going to need you. And yeah, he knocked it out of the park. I don't even think it was like maybe a week, maybe week and a half or something like that. And we were just really happy with everything and just the spacings and just everything about it.
Yeah, awesome, man. You started this band back in 1990. What metal bands or albums really locked you into death metal back then?
Yeah, we were I before the band became death metal, we were kind of doing like a kind of like an MOD kind of SOD type thing.
Hmm.
And the guys in the band at that time and I did not get along very well. We just, they, a couple of them wanted to party, and I wanted to be serious.
Hmm.
And so we kind of had a falling out. And I met some new guys, and they were really young. And it just, I don't know, it just kind of like took off from there, and like as far as the influences and stuff, we were just really heavily into like we stumbled onto like bands like Paradise Lost and
Hmm.
Death, Leprosy, Pestilence, Impulse, Sadist. I was always a big Testament fan, so I was always
Hmm.
an Exodus fan, so I always had that in my wheelhouse. But as far as like, yeah, the newer bands, and it was just one of those things where we didn't want to do the crossover stuff anymore. We wanted to be serious. And Eric Reif, which was our producer of the first two demos we did, was like, go out to the record store, grab this band, grab that band, grab this band. And so we just went out like on a shopping spree, and we bought like, I don't know, six. We have Obituary, Slowly We Rot,
Hmm.
Cancer. We just anything we get our hands on. And we were just kind of, we were young and we were like sponges. And we just listened to these bands over and over to get an idea of what, how death metal is done, even vocally. I
Hmm.
had never sang before. So I'd be in my car driving to work, and I'd have an Obituary cassette on, and I'd try to match his vocal or Chuck Scholiner's vocal. And,
Hmm.
so at first I think it just became more of like a mimic thing to kind of be comfortable with the style. And then after that, we really started kind of just coming into our own.
Yeah, cool, man. What are you listening to these days? What kind of stuff?
Um, the newest Dying Fetus is really good.
Hmm.
Like that and the new Suffocation. I have both of those right now that I've been really cranking. And I kind of alternate with some older stuff, like the older Michael Schenker, Accept, Balls of the Wall, all
Hmm.
the classics. So I kind of bounce in between them. But as far as the newer stuff, that new Dying Fetus is really, really good. And then the Suffocation is just amazing. I mean, they always put out a good product.
Yeah, nice. Cool. You mentioned Cancer before. You're in very good company on Peaceful Records. And that split, the Peace Till Death split with the demo versions and stuff. Such a good lineup of bands. How did that sort of come together?
The label, Peaceful, we had been talking about doing this record for about a year or two, and then once everything kind of started getting set in motion, uh, Paul from the label was like, "Hey, do you guys have any like not outtakes, but like do you have any different versions
Hmm.
of these songs off the record?" And I was like, not really, And he's like, well, you got, now I said, I really don't have anything. I said, I got like our basement versions, we have like a Reaper program and we mic everything up and
Hmm.
we record our songs like that. And I said, I got some really, really good pre-production type stuff that is taken from our rehearsals.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, why? And he's like, oh, he goes, well, you and like a couple other bands have records coming out around the same time. And he goes, what we'd like to do is we'd like to put together a compilation of maybe different, like different takes or demo takes
Hmm.
to give the fans a little taste of what's coming out. So we were able to, I think it was Perfect Prey, which is the single for the video that we just released on the
Yeah.
20th. We did like, I don't want to say it's an alternate version, but it is a little different because it's more of a pre-production. It's not the final product. And then we recorded Dying Remains, the actual title track, for that. And it really was for our use. But there are some differences, like my solo. I had to rewrite my solo because of I used to use a whammy bar. I no longer have a whammy bar, so I had to kind of compensate, rewrite the solo. So that's got a rewritten solo, which I've been playing in that song for the last couple of years. But it's new to the fans. So yeah,
Hmm.
they wanted a couple of tracks, and we were able to accommodate them, and they wanted to put out this compilation, and it was really cool being on there with Autopsy and Cancer for sure.
Yeah, it's cool. Has your guitar gear setup changed much since the 90s? Like what you're playing and what you're playing through, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to. Oh man, for the first four records, I used Marshall JCM 800. I used a Digitech 32 band graphic EQ, a hush unit, noise reduction unit. That was pretty much my setup up until like Surface.
Mm.
And then I was working at a music store at the time, and Line 6 had just released these amp heads called the Flex Tone. And I was a huge Line 6 guy. Like I just loved everything, all their product. I loved everything. And I was lucky that I worked at a music store, so I got a discount.
Mm.
So I bought one of the heads, and I had never used it. I had had it for quite a like couple of years, and I never used it. And then once I think like 2001, 2002 came, I started using the Line 6 head, and I used that all the way up until God, probably 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. And then now I don't have a head anymore. I have what's called a power amp. So I have
Mhm.
a power amp, which 700 watts. It's a Seymour Duncan power stage, and then I go through a small Zoom preamp pedal,
Mm.
which has my amp and my distortion. It's a 3GN, and that's pretty much what I use now, and that's what we used on Creation Undone. So
Yeah, cool. And what about guitar wise? Like, is there one or two that you kind of keep going back to, or do you sort of change it up more than that?
yeah, I started off playing BC Rich, and then I moved to Jackson, and then I moved back to BC Rich, and then I went to ESP for a little bit, and then I finally stumbled on Schecter, and I've been with Schecter now for God since the early 2000s. So I've been with them over 15 years now, and that's pretty much the go-to that I use. But I did go back on Suffer for Nothing. I had a Mick Thompson from Slipknot signature Jackson, and I used that on that record a lot, and I
Mm.
really loved that guitar. And for some stupid, foolish reason, I ended up selling it. So right now I'm pretty much all Schecter. But yeah, every once in a while I've kind of gone back to Jackson once in a while, and then I don't know, the Schecters just I don't know what it is about them. They just have a great tonality,
Mm.
and they're just built so well, and they just sound great in the studio.
Yeah, cool. Um, I've got to ask the logo, you guys' logo, you've got that same unique design since like 93 Dying Remains. Who drew it? The way the K kind of comes out under the U, it's such a great logo, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a great question. So there, back in the day, before we became a band, there was a local band called Dr. Shrinker,
Hmm.
and Dr. Shrinker is a really like they just got this great underground cult following, and I had they were doing the Eponym demo, and they were doing it with Eric Greif, which kind of recorded all of us at the time. And they were doing this demo. And I remember asking the guitar player, Chad Hensel, I said, yeah, we need a new logo. Cause because at the time we were in process of recording or writing Dying Names. And I said, hey, we need a new logo. What do you think? And he's like, oh yeah, I'll do it for you. And if you look up a Dr. Shrinker logo and you put ours, like you can really see his style. Like you
Oh,
can
cool.
with the
Yeah.
S and all that, like you can really like you can almost put them together and just it's like wow, like you could just tell that is his work. And it's such great work. I love the logo. He did a fantastic job. I can't thank him enough.
Yeah, awesome, man. Um, so yeah, Creation Undone. I've ordered my green vinyl copy. Looking forward to that arriving. What's next?
Nice.
What's next for you guys? Like you got some shows coming up, that kind of thing?
Yeah. Beginning of March, we're going to be on the road for a couple of days on the West Coast with our buddies in Skeletal Remains and Oxygen Destroyer. And then we come home for, I think, a week and a half, and then we're headed off to South America with Malevolent Creation to do a short run with them.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And then what about like release wise? Like obviously we just had a new album, which is fantastic. Are you guys planning on anything in like the next couple of years? Like what's sort of next for you guys?
I don't know if I like to plan that far ahead sometimes.
Sure.
Because you never know. Well, you never know. The industry can be a little fickle. And we don't know where things are going to be in a couple of years. I mean, everything's so expensive right now. And of course it just keeps going up. So
Mm.
I would never say we're not going to put anything out, but right now we're not really planning on it. I think right
Yeah.
now what we're doing is we're just enjoying this release right now, and we're
Hmm.
enjoying the positive feedback and just the fans and even people like yourself. We appreciate everybody's hard work they're putting into this. And so far, from what I can see, it's getting some really, really good press, and there's a lot of people that like it. So it makes me happy that the fruits of our labor definitely is coming to fruition, and that people are enjoying what we're doing.
Yeah, good to hear, man. Cool. Well, look, Dave, thanks heaps for your time. It's been awesome to talk. And yeah, killer album, man. I love it. Thanks, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, Ben. I really appreciate you, man. And I want you to have a great rest of your day. And hopefully we get to come down and play in your neck of the woods sometime.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Cheers, man. Have a good one.
It would be. All right,
Cool.
cheers.
For more metal interviews and metal music videos, subscribe to this YouTube channel and check out the links below for the audio podcast. New one every Wednesday. Cheers for watching.